What's going on, guys? It's Cimo. So we got a ban list today, but unfortunately it isn't the TCG ban list that we have all been waiting for. We're actually not supposed to get the TCG ban list until July 1st, so we still have a few weeks to go, but the OCG, however, received their ban list today, and that is what we are going to be discussing. Now, before we get into the reveals for their ban list, I wanted to give you guys a glimpse as to what the OCG metagame looks like, because remember, they have a completely different card pool, a completely different ban list, but it's interesting that their format is somewhat similar to ours in some ways. As you can see, Zodiac Tri-Brigade is here at the top of the most recent metagame report, and to be honest, Zodiac Tri-Brigade's kind of been at the top of the metagame for the entirety of this format. Virtual World is not too far behind and has always been like up there as like a top 2 deck during this time. Remember, in the OCG, they still have Calamities at 1, and it got limited on the previous ban list, so Virtual World was still able to compete. Virtual World's still able to compete here in the TCG as well, but it's not nearly as good because we don't have Calamities. We also have some pure Zodiac. Remember, they also have the utopic crazy card that's able to just steal opposing monsters that we don't have yet. And then they also have some Phantom Knight, some Dragon Maid, Eldritch Shaddoll, Salmager, Tri-Brigade Lure, you know, just like a bunch of other random crap that you always see in both TCG and OCG, let's be perfectly honest. But this has pretty much been the bulk of it right here. You've got Zodiac Tri-Brigade, Virtual World, Zodiac. Eldritch has also been up there a few times as well. Kind of just all these decks here have just been interchangeable depending upon the week. But I think that's definitely going to change when we get into the limitations here, or rather the bans, because the first card that is now banned is Zodiac DRIDENT. Again, mind you, remember, Zodiac DRIDENT was banned before when Zodiac was the best deck 4 years ago, and now here we are once again, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the weird thing is DRIDENT the correct hit? Because for the OCG, maybe it is the correct hit, because not only is Zodiac Tri-Brigade one of the most popular decks, but also pure Zodiac is one of the most popular decks as well, and so maybe the OCG metagame wants to hit DRIDENT specifically to disincentivize players from using the Zodiac engine in their Tri-Brigade, because what's fascinating is that in one of these metagame reports, actually, I think this was the second one that they posted, if we scroll on down to here, what's interesting is that pure Tri-Brigade was actually still topping. Now, obviously, the Zodiac Tri-Brigade version is probably stronger because you're not so reliant on the Tri-Brigade engine going through. You have some nice extenders in Zodiac Barrage, and you're able to access Zeus very easily, but it's not like Tri-Brigade would really go anywhere as a result. Players may just have to fall back on basically this version of the deck, essentially, and that would be fine. Players could also fine-tune things as necessary, but it's not like Tri-Brigade is really hurt by this. Yes, I mean, DRIDENT sucks for Zodiac specifically, and I think pure Zodiac is now, there's really no point to play it. I guess you could argue Zeus is a really big payoff, and so maybe that would still incentivize people to want to play. Maybe you would just play triple Zeus now instead of playing the one DRIDENT, but I don't know if that's enough, to be honest. I mean, DRIDENT is just such a powerful card, and we know this, right? This isn't anything new. There's a reason this card was banned for as long as it was, and so now here we find ourselves once again. It's very interesting to see this, and when I think about how these potential hits might affect us TCG players, I don't feel like Zodiac is strong enough for us TCG players, because the pure form does see play from time to time, but it's not like a tier 1 deck like over in the OCG, right? A lot of people are on Zodiac over there, and also too, if we ever are going to receive that other utopic monster that is just making Zodiac the powerhouse that it is, Konami would be incentivized, at least for us TCG players, to want to keep Zodiac around long enough for that to be the case, right? We also just received Lightning Overdrive, and so Lightning Overdrive giving support to Tri-Brigade. If people want to experiment with Tri-Brigade Zodiac, I think they should be allowed to. It would help sell the set. I mean, I think that's just all positive for us TCG players. That's just what happens as a result of us getting a set several months later, but that's it for the Forbidden. I don't know if this is the right hit. I mean, Virtual World didn't receive any bans here, and True King of All Calamities is still at 1, which means Virtual World could just ascend back to being the best deck of the format, unless Tri-Brigade has enough, you know, power backing it to be able to stand up to Virtual World, but we'll have to see what happens. We also need to see what else is on the list here. Just interesting how DRIDENT is the only hit, but, you know, sometimes that is how it is. So moving on to the limitations, none. Well, boy, that was fucking productive. Like, okay, like, no limitations at all. They couldn't have limited anything. Everything in the OCG is just so perfectly fine that nothing warranted being limited. Okay, moving on. I mean, I don't really have much else to say there. It's like, I don't know. And then here we come to the semi-limits. The semi-limits and the OCG are like a dynamic duo because I don't know why they are so obsessed with the semi-limited list over there. Here in the TCG, we have one card on our list now at this point, which is wonderful, but the OCG semi-limited list is like 30 cards at this point. So this is interesting. So we have Pendulum Call going from 1 to 2. Pendulum decks in the OCG are not really doing all that much. Obviously, their Pendulum decks look different than ours, but if you've been following the OCG at all, you really don't see a lot of Pendulum, and Pendulum Call being at 1 might be one of the reasons for that. I don't think this going to 2 is really going to make a difference. Maybe it does. Who knows? But I don't see that happening. We also have Tenki going to 2, so this is also a slight consistency hit, not only to Zodiac. To be fair, I think pure Zodiac's a lot harder to play now with Trident gone, but this is also a slight consistency hit to Tri-Brigade because the deck is already naturally playing Tenki to search out the Fractal. So that's more of a Tri-Brigade specific hit, I would say, but I mean, also, you're already hitting Drident, so like Zodiac's already having a lot of trouble as is, but hitting the Tenki to 2, okay, so you lose like a 10% chance of getting your Tenki off, like, fine, like, this is like why I don't like the semi-limited list. It's like, it doesn't really accomplish all that much. It makes it like slightly less consistent. I don't know, it's just so weird when they do this stuff. And then Gamma going to 2, I don't like this either. Gamma already has the inherent downside that you have to play Driver in your main deck, right? And that already makes your deck inherently less consistent. Gamma's a card that is very powerful, but I don't think this card really warrants getting hit on the ban list because, again, you already have consistency issues with it. It's already a card that if you have monsters on the field, you can't do anything with it. So the only time Gamma is actually an effective tool is on your like turn 0 when your opponent is going first. And to be fair, Gamma is one of the most powerful tools for if you're going second because it's allowing you to actually have a fighting chance sometimes against some decks, especially combo decks, because combo decks can go off, and sometimes just using an Effect Veiler or an Infinite Impermanence just isn't enough. Sometimes you need to clear the monster off the field so that way they're not able to link off with it, to Xyz with it, to Synchro with it, whatever. And Gamma's one of the only few tools that can actually do that. And you could maybe make the argument that Nibiru can, but a lot of decks are able to kind of play around Nibiru with the 5 summon limitation. I don't know. This one just seems really out of left field to me, and I don't understand why. I really hope they don't do this for the TCG because Gamma is a very strong card, and I feel like it's a card similar to Droll and Lockbird that we need a card like Gamma to exist in the game to kind of help keep decks in check at times. Yes, you can make the argument that some decks are able to play Gamma, and like when you look at a deck like Tri-Brigade, right, you're able to send Fractal from hand to grave, and then if they Ash it, you can Gamma it. So maybe again, this was another Tri-Brigade hit for that reason, but it's just a hit that I really don't like because I personally just hate the semi-limited list. I just think it just doesn't serve much of a purpose. I think Gamma at 3 would be fine. I don't think putting this to 2 really accomplishes a whole lot. If people identify Gamma as being one of the prime removal tools if they're going second, or it's a good way to kind of catch their opponent's hand traps if they're going first, people are still going to play it, but now it just makes it even more inconsistent because you have to play the Driver still, and now you only have 2 copies of it. I guess the OCG has played 2 copies of Gamma in the past, which I still think is fucking weird, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. This is the OCG, and the OCG does a lot of weird things, at least compared to us TCG players. And then let's go ahead and wrap up with the unlimits here. So going to 3, all of these from 2, by the way, because like I said, the OCG semi-limited list was vast. Wind Up Magician to 3, not going to do anything. Mathematician to 3, not going to do anything. Union Hanger to 3, really not going to do anything. And Firewall Dragon to 3. I still love how the OCG before the errata of Firewall Dragon put it to 2 before they put it to 3. And us TCG players just put it straight to 3 because we knew it wasn't going to be a problem. I understand there's some PTSD here from Firewall Dragon specifically, which is arguably the strongest Link monster in existence. I understand the PTSD from Union Hanger because ABC just absolutely dominated the OCG metagame for like a year and a half when it was like the best deck. Mathematician's a very powerful card too, but like this is just, they needed this to all just come off because none of these cards are really going to cause problems, especially Firewall Dragon. If they thought Firewall Dragon was going to cause a problem with its new effect, I don't know what they were thinking. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for the OCG's ban list for July 2021. And I gotta say, It's a little bit underwhelming. I mean, I obviously know that they hit some of their top decks, but it feels like they completely left out Virtual World. It feels like some of the format's gonna be the same. It might just be Tri-Brigade Virtual World format over in the OCG. I think some other decks have the opportunity to kind of rise up here, but it just seems like a lot of the hits were things that should have already happened, or things that are very strong but also aren't really checking everything all at once. But I guess it's Konami. They're allowed to discriminate however they want, and DRIDENT is now on the ban list for a second time. I think that is one of the funniest parts. The most interesting part about this for me is that we actually got the OCG ban list before getting the TCG ban list, and a lot of the time it's reversed and we see what happens after the fact, so that way we compare and contrast. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys think down in the comments below about the next ban list coming out for us TCG players here on July 1st. We could get it earlier. Konami has released it earlier in the past, but that's when we're supposed to get it. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think as to what cards you would like to see hit for us TCG players, because obviously we have a different format, right? We have Dragon Link, we have Drytron, we have Tri-Brigade Zodiac here dominating as well. But we also have decks like Prank Kids and the like, and so many other strategies. Some people think that stuff like Invoke should get hit, or decks that have been around for maybe the better part of a year that have had their time to shine. Maybe we curb the format a little bit. I really love to hear your thoughts because it's an open-ended discussion. I think we could get some good chats going down in the comments, so be sure to let me know what you guys think. Thank you all so much for watching the video though. Be sure to like the video as always, subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and if you found this video informative, consider supporting me on Patreon for exclusive early one-day access to both the Yu-Gi-Oh progression series and the history of Yu-Gi-Oh. Thanks so much again, and we will see you next time.